At the conclusion of the 2023 Pala Casino 400 at the Auto Club Speedway, and then after that, the conclusion of the Xfinity race that night, we saw what could be the end of racing at the Auto Club Speedway altogether. This track is one that drivers and fans came to love over the last 20-25 years after a pretty rocky start. But now we have the question: was this race weekend the last race weekend we will ever see at the Auto Club Speedway in any format possible for the track? And there seems to be no concrete plan, which is leaving it up in the air for fans. And while NASCAR, ISC, and those in the area may have a plan, none of us are really privy to it. So we're going to look into that today and see what we know so far and what might happen moving forward. So the big news from the weekend that honestly I think was ill-timed to announce was that NASCAR sold almost all of the land they owned around and on the Auto Club Speedway property for an estimated $544 million. And they say they have plans to reinvest the money in the short track renovations, fan experiences, as well as paying down some debt that ISC has. And I think that right off the bat, this was handled poorly in the sense that fans are already on edge, losing what has become a probably top 10 track that they're fans of. And when you add this onto the fire, people are going to start asking questions. One, why are people paying that much money for it? Based on estimates, NASCAR got a pretty big deal, and a pretty good one at that. And others are going to ask, well, why are you announcing this as we are wrapping up this race weekend? And I think that a lot of it was just timing, but a lot of it too is fans are going to ask questions. Now, the new short track was approved by the county in 2021, so it is at least in writing that this will happen. There will be some kind of racing based on these reports. Looking likely to be a half-mile track, it was even proposed at one point to be a 2/3 of a mile track with 30 to 35,000 in the grandstands and a capacity around 50,000, which is pretty close to what the 2-mile Auto Club has at the time that it was announced. And it seems, though, that it's been changing. Nobody can really give a straightforward answer. We hear that we hope that there's this, we want there to be this, and that is making the uncertainty even more palpable for us fans. When the people in charge really don't have a straightforward story that everyone's sticking to, it makes a lot of us think if there actually was an approved track, or if you're just playing this by the way the wind blows. It's really confusing for fans, and NASCAR should have been on the same page with everybody involved before announcing anything, because when you add in this, the fact that the designs have changed over time, and it's been, yes, approved by the county, but it's also been 2 to 3 years, give or take, since it was, and you never know what things can change in governance or in plans or in businesses around the area. Remember, there's the whole booming real estate market trend that a certain other YouTuber that might be in a tent right now has started up? Well, it's not just a traditional short track problem, and this is right in the back of the minds of fans. For instance, the real estate encroachment on the Chicagoland Speedway, a track that had become a fan favorite in the last couple years of racing there, had great racing, but because of some extraneous circumstances as well as that, now is not on the Cup Series schedule. And then you also have the Amazon facility and other facilities that are built around the Nashville Superspeedway that are ever looming. Just 1 or 2 people of power saying the right things, and those racetracks could go the wrong way. And this could be an issue for this area as well, as if it builds up over time, there are going to be businesses who get affected by race weekends. Yes, I agree that they should know what they're signing up for if you're moving next to a racetrack. You're going to get noise. You're going to get traffic. You are going to get a lot of things that hold up your business on those specific weekends. But unfortunately, the world does not work with common sense in a lot of ways. The world works with money, and money is what talks. And like it or not, in California, NASCAR is not going to be the biggest ones coming with money. It's going to be those businesses that are building in the area that the backstretch is on at the moment. Many cities and building areas in general around the country wouldn't want racing, and we see two instances of that in heavy populated areas with NASCAR. For instance, the Chicago Street Course has been having a ton of fights back from local governments and also just citizens in general in Chicago. They don't want that race to be there because of noise, business complaints, shutting down different things, and it's been something that's been well documented both on this channel and others, as well as Nashville with the fairgrounds. People move next to a racetrack that's been around for over 100 years and then bitch and complain about the noise. This is something, again, that could happen with businesses if they build that up in that area. And I don't want to be the Debbie Downer on it, but it's more than likely to happen to more tracks over time as the steady encroachment of cities and populated areas goes closer to racetracks that didn't have that kind of issue 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago when they were built. This is something that's going to have to be contended with over time, and if the reports are true that it's going to be a couple of years before there's any racing at the earliest for Auto Club, a lot can change in an area in that time. Just look at the difference between a lot of areas in the country between now and 2020, for instance. Now, while there is a lot of negative to look at this, and there's a lot of speculation that can be done, track president Dave Allen did give some statements, at least trying to quell the worries of fans. He had said in one quote, "I'm hopeful that we get to a point here in the near future, sometime this year, that there's going to be a few different bites at the apple as it relates to more information coming out and a timeline established." The fact that we're closing down the track though right now, honestly, is really scary to me, as, let's be honest, this track is closing down with no plan given by the words of Dave Allen that is in stone at the moment for what's going to happen. So yes, he may remain hopeful, but what's he going to say? My track's shutting down? Boo-hoo? No, he's not going to say that to the media. There's going to be that save a face. The fact that there is not a united front right now and that he's not straight up saying, here's the plan, or we have a plan in place, we just need to announce it, is worrying. And then he also said, and honestly, I can't wait to share some of the things that we've been working on from a design perspective, because we've been working on it for quite a while. Again, NASCAR's been working on this and ISC's been working on this for quite a while, and we still don't have a plan in place. Now, I know that the governments in California move about as fast as a glacier, but it still is worrying that they said there was this good relationship. They've said over time that they have a plan in place with them. They said they have all this stuff signed up, but there's nothing on paper saying what needs to be done. Could this be a 2/3 of a mile short track still? Could it be a half mile? Could it be a 4/10 of a mile track? I don't know. They don't know from what it sounds like. They want to have things to announce, yes, but there is nothing in stone. And then he also says that it will be a short track, which I think all of us kind of understand from the limited amount of land they have left. And, quote, it will be the most state-of-the-art short track that's ever been built. This, to me, is the most believable part of what he said. If you look at the renovations at Phoenix Raceway, for instance, from everyone I've talked to who's been there, it is one of the most up-to-date facilities for sporting venues in America. There is a ton of good that has come from those renovations, and I have no doubt that this wouldn't be done with Auto Club as well. I've also been to the Daytona International Speedway and seen the Daytona Rising project that's been around for almost a decade, and it is breathtaking. It is a professional grade stadium on par with the best of the best. I've been, for instance, to US Bank Stadium, which is ranked as one of the best NFL stadiums, and it is up there with US Bank Stadium. Daytona is the top of the line when it comes to best NASCAR tracks I've ever seen, and I think that, in my opinion, they can do the same thing with Auto Club in a relatively similar sized arena that would be built, for instance, in a football stadium or basketball stadium. I think you're going to see something, if this all comes to fruition, that is top of the line. And I'll be honest, I want to be there to see it whenever it happens. The problem is that from what we've heard, racing would be returning there 2025 at the earliest, very earliest. And we've seen years thrown around like 2026, 27, and 28, which in the fluidity of NASCAR today is not really appealing for many fans. Again, Look at the schedule now in 2023 compared to what was announced for 2020 before we had the old COVID hit us. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer again on this, but it doesn't look good when NASCAR is still up in the air on when the hell they would be able to race if they even had a plan in place. Because that 2025 at the earliest, in my opinion, was estimated with a plan actually being there. With everything being closed down now, with this track not having any more racing after this past weekend, and there being no plan, it's only going to push whatever racing plans NASCAR does have further and further into the future. So now, I want to pass this on to you and ask, do you think this is the last time that we will see any NASCAR race and any layout at the Auto Club Speedway? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like in this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And please be sure on Wednesday night to watch the NASCAR Weekly Podcast on this channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So until next time, have a good one.